So, Vampire Academy. Vampire Academy is a movie that I really wasn't planning on seeing, but I got an absurd amount of requests to watch this movie, and since I decided, well, I'm gonna watch this thing, I dragged my girlfriend along. My fiance. But believe it or not, she actually wanted to see it too, because we kind of like to watch movies sometimes where we walk into it and we know this probably is not going to be an Oscar contender. It's kind of fun to rip them apart. It's kind of fun to have fun with them. And we actually had the entire theater to ourselves. We were the only 2 people in the auditorium. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was really nice. We put our feet up on the chairs and I had my shoes off and was just kind of sitting there relaxing. It was kind of nice.
So the movie's basically like a cross between Twilight, Harry Potter, and Mean Girls. And it actually comes from the director of Mean Girls. Basically, these 2 girls that have a bond with each other go to this vampire academy. It's supposed to be a high school, despite the fact that everyone looks like they're in college.
And they act like they're in college, too, because I certainly didn't do any of the stuff they did in this when I was in high school. Okay, maybe 1 or 2 things, but that's about it.
So basically all these kids are learning how to wield magic, and everyone's vampires. There's good vampires, there's bad vampires, and of course there's love triangles and backstabbings and all different types of things going on. And it all has that type of Mean Girls feel to it, where even though there are vampires, people say stuff like biatch and things like that, current modern day pop culture trends. So Sam, before I tell you what I thought about the movie, what did you think of the movie? Let them know.
Well, I thought the movie was laughable. It was so bad. I was laughing the entire movie. It entertained me for the entire movie. I didn't even notice like how fast the movie had gone because I was entertained the whole time, which is a good thing. The fact that I was entertained because it was so bad is not a good thing.
Right. I can say this movie has an element to it where if you go into this movie knowing that you're about to experience a movie that probably isn't all that great, that is definitely trying to be the whole Twilight thing, but at the same time it's also trying to rip on Twilight. If you go into this movie knowing that, you probably aren't going to hate your life as you watch it. It is a perfectly watchable movie on that level. It's a guilty pleasure type movie where you're recognizing, wow, this movie sucks, let's just laugh at it. But yes, the movie has a lot of problems with it, and my biggest problems with the movie are that even though it's trying to, in a way, spoof the whole thing of this whole vampire, Harry Potter trend that's going on lately, the thing that I didn't like about it is that it also falls into the same cliches all those films have, like love triangles, like, you know, forbidden romances with instructors and people that you're not supposed to be with, and it has all the same stuff that those movies have as well. Even though it's trying to be a satire on those films, and it's trying to be like that, sometimes it also does the same old tropes that those films do. It also has a guy who looks exactly like Edward Cullen from the Twilight movies. I mean, he could be like his stunt double.
This feels basically like Mean Girls with vampires.
Right. That's exactly what it feels like.
Exactly, pretty much what it feels like. And then I started like picking the movie apart and like watching the shots and just watching how badly it had been chopped together to look like a fight scene. And then I remember turning to him and going, that sounds like when I hit punching bags.
Right. The sound effects weren't very realistic, and what you said about the fight scenes is also another big problem I have with the movie. It looks like people are like punching feet away from their faces. Like they're not actually making contact, and it's cut together in such a mismatched way that when you're watching it, you're like, I don't think anyone's actually hitting each other. And you know they're not. When you watch a movie, you know stunt doubles are good at what they do, but these guys do not look convincing in these fight scenes. It's trying to be a little more like, hey guys, there's going to be fight scenes too. There's going to be vampires and, you know, wolf creatures fighting. That's cool, right? But it doesn't look realistic.
No, it doesn't.
The movie is trying to be funny. It does have some moments where we're like, okay, that was a little bit clever. There's a likable lead performance from the main girl. Her name is Zoey Deutch or something like that.
Deutch.
Yeah, I thought she was okay in the movie. She looks a lot like Rose Byrne from Insidious, the mom from Insidious. Had a very similar appearance to her. There are some elements of the movie that I was surprised that actually aren't completely crappy, where you can sit down and watch it and laugh at it. But it's also trying to set up a large amount of sequels because I guess according to you...
There's 6 books,
yeah.
Which means that they're... And from what I read very briefly, I haven't read the book, which this just actually kind of made me want to read the book so I can kind of do the comparison, is that pretty much the first movie that we just saw is pretty much what is in the first book.
Okay, so it basically did an okay job summing it up, I guess?
Apparently.
Yeah. But the problem with this is that I don't really think this movie is good enough in any way to warrant sequels, but without spoiling anything, the movie has to have a sequel to explain many plot elements that are just left hanging, and I don't think that's going to happen because I don't think it's going to make enough money, and I don't think it's good enough at all to warrant more films, and so there's all these plot points that aren't going to be resolved.
I'd bite your tongue. You said that about Smurfs.
That's true. I did say the Smurfs wouldn't make money, and look what happened to that. We're getting a whole
bunch of those. But my thing is, like, I'm on the edge.
Still thinking about the Smurfs. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. More than likely, all those people who bought the book are gonna go see the movie, and they're gonna take their friends with them, which is gonna make people like me who have never read the book go,
read the book.
I need to read the book so I can understand what I just watched.
But we were the only people in the theater.
Yeah.
So there's hope for no more of these.
So on the note of possible sequels from this film, if they do make a sequel for it, please get a different screenplay writer.
If you go into this movie knowing it's bad, you can probably watch it and laugh at some of the elements to it. It's definitely trying to be a satire of the recent vampire trend, but it's got the same cliches in it, so it doesn't always work, and it's not clever enough in my opinion. I'm going to give the movie a D+. I do think that you can watch it on a guilty pleasure-like level, but for the most part, a lot of the filmmaking elements of it just kept bugging me.
I'm also going to give this movie a C- for the fact that it really wasn't well done at all. I mean, the screenplay just was so bad, and then the direction of it was so bad, all in and of its own. I'm going to give this an A for how entertained I was for the entire film, but it's still a C- movie. Just, it was so bad that it actually entertained me.
I can understand that because a movie like The Room is so friggin' horrible, but I can watch it and be like, you know what, this is bad and I'm entertained by it. Yeah. Still, I'm not going to recommend that you guys check out this movie. You probably weren't going to anyway, but if you did see the movie or if you've read the book, let us know what you thought of it. Let us know the comparisons. Thanks as always for watching, guys, and if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.